Have you ever noticed how the most beautiful things in our lives often become invisible just because they are always there? Think about the air you breathe right now. You do not think about it until you are underwater or in a room filled with smoke. Think about the way your legs carry you across the street. You rarely feel thankful for them until you are forced to sit still for a long time. We live our lives like people who have won a giant lottery but have no idea what the money is worth. We wake up and we have the whole day ahead of us. We can walk to the kitchen or we can walk to the park. We can call a friend or we can sit in silence. This ability to move and choose is what we call freedom. But because we have so much of it, we often treat it like junk mail. We toss it aside or we let it pile up without really looking at it. We spend our time worrying about things that do not truly matter while the clock of our life keeps ticking away in the background. It often takes a moment of extreme darkness to help us see the light that was always around us. When a person is placed in a tiny room and told they cannot move for 13 hours a day, the world changes. Suddenly, the smallest things become the most important things in the universe. We are going to explore why we wait for a crisis to start living and how we can find our true priorities before it is too late. This is a journey into the heart of what it means to be alive and free. On the surface, we tend to view freedom as the simple ability to do whatever we want whenever we want. We think of it as a lack of walls or a lack of rules. If nobody is telling us what to do, we tell ourselves that we are free. We see freedom as a collection of choices like a menu at a very large restaurant. We think that having more options makes us more free. This is the surface concept that most of us carry through our daily routines. We focus on our bank accounts, our jobs, and our physical possessions because we think these things give us the power to choose. We work hard to buy things that we hope will make our lives better. We believe that once we have enough money or a big enough house, we will finally be able to enjoy our lives. But this surface view is a bit like looking at a map instead of actually walking on the grass. It misses the emotional weight of what freedom actually feels like when it is taken away. We often confuse being busy with being free. We fill our schedules with tasks and meetings thinking that we are using our freedom well. But when we look closer, we see that many of us are just running in circles inside a cage we built for ourselves. We are so busy making choices that we never stop to ask if those choices are making us happy. Behind this surface view lies a hidden assumption that we have an endless supply of time. We live as if we are going to be here forever. This hidden assumption allows us to push our dreams into a vague future that we call someday. We tell ourselves that we will travel someday. We tell ourselves that we will tell people we love them someday. We assume that the door to our life will stay open indefinitely. This makes us very lazy with our priorities. We waste hours on minor arguments or small stresses because we assume there will always be more time to fix things later. This is the great illusion of the human mind. We treat our freedom like a currency that never runs out. But when a person faces a situation that feels like a mini-death, they realize that time is the only thing that truly has value. In a prison cell, nobody cries about a lost promotion or a broken car. They cry about the risks they did not take and the words they did not say. The hidden truth is that we are all in a race against an end date that we cannot see. By assuming we have forever, we end up squandering the very thing that makes life precious. This leads us to a structural pattern in human psychology. We are often paralyzed by the vastness of our choices. When we have too many paths to take, we often stand still and take none of them. This is the paradox of plenty. We see this in small ways, like when we spend an hour scrolling through movies to watch and end up watching nothing at all. We see it in big ways when people stay in jobs they hate because they are afraid of picking the wrong alternative. The structure of our modern world is designed to give us endless distractions. These distractions act like a fog that hides our true goals. We get caught in the pattern of maintaining our assets and our image rather than exploring the world and our own hearts. We build structures around our lives to keep us safe, but those same structures often keep us small. We choose the comfort of the familiar over the excitement of the unknown because the unknown feels dangerous. But the structural pattern of regret shows us that the things we fear most are usually the things we should have done. We spend our lives avoiding the discomfort of a risk only to find that the real discomfort is looking back and realizing we stayed in the same place for too long. We need to reframe our perspective on what it means to be free. We should stop seeing freedom as a wide open field with no limits and start seeing it as a focused flame. True freedom is not having 1,000 choices but having the clarity to pick the one that matters most. We can reframe our daily lives as a series of small wins. Every time you choose to speak a kind word or take a small step toward a dream, you are exercising your freedom. We should look at our lives not as a lottery we have already won but as a gift that must be used today. Instead of waiting for a tragedy to wake us up, we can choose to wake ourselves up every morning. We can reframe the idea of a mini-death as a tool for living better. If you knew that today was your last day of freedom, how would you spend the next hour? This perspective shifts the focus from what we have to what we do. It moves us from a state of waiting to a state of action. It helps us see that the walls we face are often made of our own excuses. When we reframe our fear as a signal for growth, we begin to move toward the things that will make us proud when we look back. To apply this to your daily life, you must start by doing the things you want immediately. Stop waiting for the perfect moment because the perfect moment is a myth. If there is a place you want to see, go there as soon as you can. If there is someone you love, tell them today. We can apply this by simplifying our choices. Pick 3 things that are truly important to you and let the rest go. When you are faced with a decision, ask yourself if it will matter to you in 10 years. This simple question acts like a filter that removes the noise of the world. Practice making small movements toward freedom. This could be as simple as taking a different route to work or trying a new hobby that scares you a little bit. We can also apply this by being more present in our current surroundings. When you are eating a meal, really taste the food. When you are walking, feel the ground beneath you. These small acts of awareness are a way of reclaiming your life from the fog of habit. We should also look at how we spend our time on digital devices. Are we using our freedom to learn and connect, or are we just letting an algorithm pull us through the day? By taking control of our attention, we take control of our freedom. Let us reflect on the idea of the lottery of life. Most of us are born with the ability to move and think and dream. This is a massive fortune that we did not earn. But just like a lottery winner who spends all their money on useless things, we can easily spend our life on useless worries. We think we are being responsible when we focus on our assets, but we are often just being distracted. The people who have lost everything and then gained it back tell us a very consistent story. They do not talk about the clothes they wore or the status they had. They talk about the feeling of the sun on their face. They talk about the joy of a simple conversation. They talk about the deep peace of being in charge of their own movements. We can choose to learn from their experience without having to go through their pain. We can choose to be people who do not squander our freedom. This requires a bit of discipline. It requires us to say no to the things that drain us so we can say yes to the things that fill us with life. It is about realizing that every moment is a choice, even if that choice is just how we think about our situation. We are all heading toward the same destination in the end. The only question is how much of the world we will see and how much love we will share before we get there. If you woke up tomorrow and discovered that you only had 1 week left to move and choose exactly as you wish, what is the very first thing you would stop doing, and what is the one risk you would finally be brave enough to take?